Well, if there was one guy who came into Pocatello this weekend knowing he had to charge hard, it was you, Bill. 265 points back to start the night in 5th place. You did everything you could. 2 runner-ups, racing and freestyle, but Larry, he was just on a rail tonight.
You know, he did. He outperformed us. It was a great race, great freestyle by Larry. You know, hats off to him. You know, we kind of look at the truck. I'm sure you guys already did a walkthrough on it. I made an oops, I guess. You know, I thought, let's get crisscrossed on the bus and one tire hit and just, I mean, it pirouetted in the air and landed on the front end cage hard, busted every heim joint out of the front end, some shock shafts, drive line, you know. But I'm giving up for the night. I'm actually going to get some sleep tonight, and then we'll attempt it tomorrow. You know, lots of work. I mean, you look at it, it looks worse, but I think, you know, about a day and a half worth of work, and I'll have it all done.
Well, I'd say you probably earned a night's sleep after tonight out there. But, yeah, just talk about racing a little bit. You were just on a rail out there, and then that final round race came up.
You know, it's kind of like cheating. That new motor, it's got a lot more cubes, it's got a lot more power. You know, it shocked me. You know, it's the last race, the only thing that killed me was the corner. You know, I went into a wheelie, and then when I hit the brakes, it pivoted more than I expected it to, so I had to slow down and wait for the steering to catch up, and that's where Larry got me. I mean, he had a hell of a corner, and you know, we tried catching him on the straightaway, and I can't wait to see some of the video because I carried the front wheels just, right over all the jumps, and I mean, that's the new motor. You know, I'm hoping to play with this little motor again, you know, and see how it's going to end up acting for us. So I'm enjoying the racing a lot more. You know, before I didn't care for it, especially when it's got driver control in it. You know, if we got to turn it all, if it's I'm not too keen on the straight line, but the turning courses I'm having a great time at.
Well, you entered 5th, you came out 3rd, you're taking home a little extra money. I'd say it was a successful weekend, wouldn't you?
Well, you know, I'm taking home a little bit of money, which I got to spend a lot of money, but that's never been, you know, a problem with me. I still had a great time. You know, it was a huge crowd here at the Checkered Flag National Finals. They were loud. I loved it. I was hoping I was going to get the win. You know, we had to go in for the 2nd round of freestyle, and so that was going to be a challenge in itself, trying to win over the crowd, you know, with a good enough run to keep a high score all night. But, you know, 2nd place is great for me. You know, I'm sure we're going to be back next year. I don't have much more to say. It's been a great year. The year's not over. I mean, now we're starting to get outdoor stuff. We got a lot of other new promoters that are trying to call us, booking some good, you know, events, some large events. Branching myself out, you know, all over the country, you know, Canada, Mexico. You know, I'm hoping the team's going to get stronger and bigger.
Well, that's Bill Payne, and he showed here in Pocatello tonight that he is the rock star. Well, Jon Zimmer and Amsoil Shock Therapy ended up 2nd in points. Not quite the night you were looking for with the 1st round racing exit, but I got to tell you, man, you turned them on in freestyle. That was one of the best freestyles we saw tonight.
Yeah, the racing didn't go my way at all. That track was really weird. It wasn't quite a driver's track. It was almost just try to get down through it track. I don't know how to explain that, but I guess it's one of those things where my year's honestly been so good. This truck has never, ever let me down. I've never missed a round. And tonight it decides to break the pinion right off, which, man, it happens. I was bummed. But thank to BJ Johnson, who just came out to watch the show, my crew with Mullet Man, Tim Mesentis, and his girlfriend, who actually, I don't look at her as his girlfriend because she's the hardest worker of any of us, Lindsay. Man, we got a new rear in that, and they sent me 1st for freestyle, and I just went big from the beginning.
Well, you did everything you could going 1st for freestyle. You know, it was a tough draw. You know, you had the bad luck there, but I got to tell you, man, watching that would have been a solid freestyle even at the World Finals last week.
Yeah, you know, it's like I've always said, I don't necessarily care if I win. It's if the fans are turned on, and that's what Amsoil and Brandon Lagarde believe in too. So going 1st to me was like, well, boys, I'm going to go as big as any of you or maybe even bigger. And I might not score the same, but if those fans stand up and cheer, man, that's what I did. I did my job.
Well, 2nd in points. It was a good, successful season for you with Checkered Flag, even running kind of a limited schedule. Yeah. And, hey, you're walking out of here with another $1,000 tonight based on that 2nd place finish.
Yeah, that's awesome for the team. You know, every little bit counts. You know, I've always said people think we're some massive corporation team, and that ain't true, man. We nuts and bolts and go down the road like everybody, grinding our teeth. Like I said again, I want to thank Amsoil. These guys have been behind me. I've won 1 championship last year. And this is just a winter season, man. I look forward to the summer. I'm ready.
Well, that's Jon Zimmer with Amsoil Shock Therapy. One great season here with Checkered Flag Productions. And, man, the year's just getting started for Sudden Impact Racing. Well, Larry, after that racing performance you put on, it was going to be hard to step it up in freestyle above what you had already been doing tonight, but you did exactly that, man. Huge air, long run. You just were giving them everything, hitting all the stuff, and then a pretty wild ride to end it out there.
Yeah, we were having fun. You know, we wanted to put on a good show. All these other guys, you know, running hard, and we wanted to win. Like I said, we came here to win, and we wanted to take all three. You know, the championship, the racing, and the freestyle, and we did it.
Boy, you know, to have goals like that's one thing, but to actually carry them out's a whole nother thing. And it's just a topper on what's been a great first quarter for you so far with the Bigfoot Bad Boy and the new attitude.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. You know, like I said, I wanted to win. You know, I'd have been happy if I could have won racing and took the points, but to take freestyle too, it's awesome. You know, I wasn't going to lay down just because I already had the championship. You know, we wanted it all, and, you know, it worked out good. We didn't want to roll over, but hey, that's all part of monster trucking.
Well, hey, and you know, it's what we've been talking about all year long with all the folks saying this is the best stuff that they've seen out of a Bigfoot so far. And we've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and that's one of the best Bigfoot freestyles I've ever seen. You were getting the same air out there as Zimmer. You were carrying, you know, everything that you were looking for out there. A nice save, and then, of course, what happened there at the end.
Yeah, like I said, I appreciate it. You know, I've had a few people tell me that, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm just glad to be driving and glad to be doing a good job. Everybody seems happy, and you know, I'm having a blast. You know, I'm loving it, and like I said earlier, you know, thanks again to the guys at the shop for taking care of my truck, my wife for putting up with me being gone, and you know, doing all this crazy stuff, and you know, all the fans, our sponsors, Beckley, all the, you know, with all these guys, the promoters, we couldn't do it without them.
Well, hey, man, we appreciate everything you've done with us so far this year, TMB TV. It's been great having you, and it's been great making sure all the fans out there are seeing everything that you guys are doing with the Bigfoot Bad Boy. Why don't you go out there and do some celebrating?
Yeah, thank you. We're going to go put some trucks back together, and thanks a lot for Monster Blog, you know, for getting the word out for you to you people, and you guys get to see live action and, you know, all the behind-the-scenes stuff, so thanks for coming.
Larry Swim, Bigfoot Bad Boy. This guy's a champ. Well, TMB TV fans, what a show you've just seen here on the monsterblog.com. You know, we told you when we started out 2009 back in North Carolina with Checkered Flag Productions that you were in for a wild year of monster trucks here on TMB TV, and we've delivered exactly that so far with first quarter with the help of our friends at Checkered Flag Productions. We've seen some great shows, and what a capper here in Pocatello. The Monster Truck Grand Nationals, 8 great trucks, and we saw an amazing show racing and freestyle tonight. You just couldn't have asked for much more. From Larry Swim taking the championship to Jon Zimmer, Isaiah, Mike, Bill Payne moving from 5th to 3rd. It was a great night, and you saw some freestyles out there that would have fit in great even last week in Vegas at the World Finals. It's a great show, and it's coming to you all on the Monster Blog. We had the whole crew out here, even guests with Jeff Richards, Roller, Motorsports Live Radio. He was here doing the live audio broadcast for us. Call out to Colby's wife, Candace. She was answering questions on the chat, doing a great job there. Oh, and man, always props to my man Colby behind the camera, doing a great job. We had the best spot picked out. We had all the action happening right in front of us. And also a big thanks to my beautiful wife, Regina, for that second video angle you've been enjoying here on TMB TV. So much coverage, huge photo gallery, great episode of TMB TV. We hope you've enjoyed it, but hey, this is just first quarter. We've got tons more coming up for you with TMB TV this year. Stay tuned to the monsterblog.com. We're #1 when it comes to monster truck coverage because we know monster trucks.